He was one of the most powerful men in Nazi Germany, a figure who operated almost entirely in the shadows, yet exerted enormous influence over the machinery of repression. As head of the Gestapo, Heinrich Müller stood at the center of the Third Reich's internal security system. He worked closely with men like Adolf Hitler, Heinrich Müller, and Reinhard Heydrich, and he was present in the Führerbunker during the final days of the regime. Then, in May 1945, he vanished. No confirmed body was ever recovered. No verified eyewitness account of his death emerged. For decades, intelligence agencies, historians, and investigators have returned to the same troubling question. How could a man so deeply embedded in the Nazi state simply disappear? Heinrich Müller was born on April 28, 1900 in Munich, the capital of Bavaria, a city that would later become synonymous with the rise of National Socialism. He grew up in a society shaped by strict hierarchy, discipline, and respect for authority. As a teenager, Müller showed technical aptitude rather than political ambition. At 17, before the outbreak of the First World War, he completed an apprenticeship as an aircraft mechanic, a trade that reflected Germany's growing fascination with aviation and modern warfare. In 1917, as the war entered its final and most desperate phase, Müller joined the Royal Bavarian Army. He served in the Luftstreitkräfte, not as a fighter pilot, but as part of an artillery spotting unit, a dangerous role that required calm observation under fire. His service earned him several decorations for bravery, suggesting competence, discipline, and an ability to perform under pressure. Like many soldiers of his generation, Müller experienced the collapse of Imperial Germany firsthand when the war ended in defeat in November 1918. The post-war period plunged Germany into chaos, and Bavaria was among the most unstable regions. Revolutionary movements inspired by Bolshevism briefly seized control in Munich, establishing the Bavarian Soviet Republic. Armed clashes between left-wing revolutionaries and conservative counterforces dominated 1919. It was in this volatile environment that Müller entered law enforcement, joining the Munich police. Assigned to the political branch, he quickly distinguished himself during efforts to suppress uprisings and restore order. From the beginning, Müller demonstrated qualities that would define his career. His reports were concise, factual, and devoid of emotional language. He avoided ideological commentary, focusing instead on names, dates, movements, and connections. Senior officers took note of his reliability and his willingness to follow orders without hesitation. These traits, valued in times of instability, helped him rise through the ranks. By the early 1920s, Müller was serving with the Bavarian State Police, working daily on surveillance and intelligence collection against political groups across Munich. During this period, Müller came into early contact with the National Socialist movement. He was present in Munich during the aftermath of the Beer Hall Putsch in November 1923, when Adolf Hitler and his followers attempted to seize power. Yet Müller's files from this era show no evidence of admiration for the Nazis. Though fiercely anti-communist, he maintained professional distance from all political factions. His role was not to believe, but to observe, categorize, and neutralize perceived threats to state stability. Throughout the late 1920s, Müller became increasingly specialized in political policing. He refined methods of surveillance, interrogation, and intelligence analysis. More importantly, he mastered bureaucratic control. He understood filing systems, cross-referencing, and information security better than most of his peers. In an era before digital databases, this skill gave him enormous power. Information flowed through Müller's hands, and he ensured that nothing was misplaced or forgotten. The turning point in his career came in January 1933, when Adolf Hitler was appointed Chancellor of Germany. The Nazi seizure of power transformed the police apparatus. Soon after, Hermann Göring reorganized the Prussian police and created a new political police force, the Geheime Staatspolizei, or Gestapo. Müller was recruited into this new organization because of his experience in Munich and his proven record against communist networks. He relocated to Berlin and joined the Gestapo during its formative stage. Within a short time, Müller stood out. His ability to manage massive volumes of information, coordinate investigations, and enforce discipline within his department made him indispensable. Unlike many Nazi officials, he was not charismatic, ideological, or theatrical. He was methodical, cold, and intensely focused on administrative control. These qualities attracted the attention of Reinhard Heydrich, who was constructing the Sicherheitsdienst, or SD, as the intelligence arm of the SS. Heinrich valued Müller's precision and placed him in roles that demanded absolute reliability. In 1934, Müller joined the SS, not as an ideological zealot, but as a functionary whose loyalty lay with the institution rather than any doctrine. By 1938, he had earned a reputation as one of the most capable administrators within Germany's political police system. His rise reflected a broader transformation of the Nazi state, where bureaucratic efficiency increasingly mattered as much as ideological fervor. When World War II began in September 1939, Müller's power expanded dramatically. That year, he was appointed head of AMT4, the Gestapo division within the Reich Main Security Office, or RSHA. The RSHA unified intelligence, security, and policing under one umbrella, creating an unprecedented concentration of power. As chief of the Gestapo, Müller became responsible for internal security across the entire Reich and its occupied territories. From RSHA headquarters in Berlin, Müller coordinated the daily activities of thousands of officers. He reviewed intelligence reports, authorized arrests, oversaw interrogations, and directed investigations against resistance movements, political opponents, and suspected spies. His department maintained close cooperation with the Sicherheitsdienst, the Abwehr, and foreign police forces. Müller's command of information placed him at the center of the Nazi regime's repressive machinery. Despite his authority, Müller was not universally liked. His relationship with Heinrich Himmler was strained. Himmler valued ideological loyalty and personal devotion, whereas Müller prioritized efficiency and procedure. This lack of overt ideological enthusiasm made some within the SS suspicious of him. Nevertheless, his effectiveness ensured his survival. After Reinhard Heydrich was assassinated in Prague in June 1942, Müller continued his work under Heydrich's successor, Ernst Kaltenbrunner. One of Müller's most prominent roles came after the failed assassination attempt on Hitler on July 20, 1944. When officers led by Klaus von Stauffenberg attempted to kill the dictator at the Wolf's Lair, Müller's Gestapo took charge of the investigation. His office coordinated arrests, interrogations, and the rapid dismantling of the resistance network. Thousands were detained, and many were executed following trials or summary proceedings. Müller's efficiency ensured that the conspiracy was crushed with ruthless speed. By early 1945, Müller was among the most informed men in Nazi Germany. He understood the true state of the war, the scale of internal dissent, and the inevitability of defeat. Yet he continued to work as Soviet forces closed in on Berlin. As the regime collapsed, Müller remained at his post, directing what remained of the Gestapo from within the capital. In April 1945, he was present in the Führerbunker beneath Berlin as the final days of the Third Reich unfolded. Witnesses placed him in meetings, issuing orders, and maintaining administrative routines even as the city above was reduced to rubble. Then, after Hitler's suicide and Germany's surrender, Müller disappeared. Unlike many other Nazi leaders, he was not captured, identified among the dead, or publicly tried. Rumors proliferated almost immediately. Some claimed he had died in Berlin and been buried in an unmarked grave. Others suggested he escaped to the Soviet Union, South America, or the Middle East. Intelligence agencies pursued leads for decades, but no conclusive evidence ever emerged. No verified remains, no authenticated documents, no confirmed sightings. The mystery of Heinrich Müller endures because it challenges assumptions about power and accountability. A man who built his career on files, records, and control left almost no trace of his own end. Whether he died anonymously in the ruins of Berlin or managed to slip away in the chaos of defeat remains unknown. What is certain is that Müller's life illustrates how bureaucratic efficiency, when combined with authoritarian power, can become a weapon as destructive as any army. Heinrich Müller was one of the most powerful yet least visible figures in Nazi Germany. As head of the Gestapo, the regime's secret police, he exercised immense control over internal security, surveillance, and repression. He was present in Adolf Hitler's bunker during the final collapse of the Third Reich, witnessing the last days of the regime from underground offices beneath Berlin. And then, in May 1945, he vanished. No confirmed body was ever identified. No reliable witness placed him in captivity. For decades, intelligence agencies, historians, and journalists searched for answers to one of the greatest unresolved mysteries of World War II. how a man with such authority and knowledge could disappear without a trace. He was born on April 28, 1900 in Munich, the capital of Bavaria, into a working-class Catholic family. As a teenager, he showed technical aptitude and completed an apprenticeship as an aircraft mechanic. When the First World War intensified in its later years, he joined the Royal Bavarian Army in 1917 and served in the Luftstreitkräfte as a pilot attached to an artillery observation unit. His service earned him several decorations, suggesting competence and bravery rather than political zeal. Like many German soldiers, he returned home after the Armistice of November 1918 to a country gripped by defeat, hunger, and political chaos. Post-war Bavaria was one of the most unstable regions in Germany. Revolutionary movements, inspired by Bolshevism, briefly seized control in Munich, establishing the Bavarian Soviet Republic. Counter-revolutionary forces soon crushed it, but the experience left deep scars. During this turbulent period, Muller joined the Munich police, entering the political branch tasked with monitoring extremist movements. He participated in suppressing left-wing uprisings and quickly gained a reputation for efficiency and discipline. His reports were factual, unemotional, and carefully structured, qualities that superiors valued in an era of constant unrest. Throughout the early 1920s, Muller rose within the Bavarian state police. His work involved surveillance, interrogations, and intelligence analysis, particularly targeting communist organizations. Despite operating in the same environment that gave rise to the Nazi Party, Muller remained professionally detached. After the failed Beer Hall Putsch in November 1923, led by Adolf Hitler and his followers, Muller helped document the aftermath but showed no ideological alignment with the movement. His files from the period suggest that he viewed all political extremists as security risks rather than allies. By the late 1920s, Muller had become a specialist in political policing. He mastered filing systems, cross-referencing techniques, and intelligence coordination. Unlike many contemporaries, he did not rely on charisma or public speeches. His power lay in information, knowing who belonged to which organization, who had attended which meeting, and who might pose a threat. When Hitler became chancellor in January 1933, Muller was already positioned inside the machinery that would soon transform Germany into a police state. Soon after Hitler's rise, Hermann Göring reorganized the Prussian police and established the Geheime Staatspolizei, or Gestapo. Muller was recruited due to his experience combating communist networks and his proven administrative skills. He relocated to Berlin and joined the organization during its formative phase. His ability to process vast amounts of intelligence quickly set him apart. While others focused on ideological purity, Muller focused on control, documentation, and efficiency. By the mid-1930s, Muller attracted the attention of Reinhard Heydrich, who was building the Sicherheitsdienst, the SS intelligence service. Heydrich valued Muller's methodical approach and placed him in positions requiring strict oversight. Muller joined the SS in 1934, not out of ideological enthusiasm, but as a career necessity. Within Berlin's expanding security network, he became known as a reliable administrator who asked no questions and followed orders precisely. When World War II began in September 1939, Muller's power increased dramatically. He was appointed head of AMT4 within the Reich Main Security Office, the RSHA, making him chief of the Gestapo. The RSHA centralized intelligence, policing, and repression under one command structure. From its headquarters in Berlin, Muller coordinated thousands of officers across Germany and occupied Europe. His responsibilities ranged from reviewing intelligence summaries to directing investigations into resistance movements and alleged conspiracies. As the war expanded, Muller's influence deepened. He oversaw surveillance operations in occupied territories, coordinated with the Sicherheitsdienst and military intelligence, and reviewed reports from foreign police agencies collaborating with the Reich. He became deeply involved in the internal repression of Germany, particularly in cases involving treason, espionage, and dissent. His office processed intelligence that flowed directly to the highest levels of the regime. Relations within the Nazi security hierarchy were often strained. Muller respected Heydrich, but his relationship with Heinrich Müller was more complex. Himmler valued ideological loyalty, while Muller valued efficiency. Some leaders distrusted Muller's lack of visible fanaticism, yet his effectiveness made him indispensable. After Heydrich's assassination in 1942, Muller worked under Ernst Kaltenbrunner, continuing to run the Gestapo's daily operations with little interruption. One of Muller's most significant roles came after the failed attempt to kill Hitler on July 20, 1944. Officers led by Klaus von Stauffenberg detonated a bomb at the ller headquarters. When Hitler survived, Muller was tasked with unraveling the conspiracy. His office coordinated arrests, interrogations, and intelligence analysis, contributing to the destruction of resistance networks and the execution or imprisonment of thousands. By this point, Muller was among the most informed men in the Third Reich. As Soviet forces closed in on Berlin in early 1945, Muller remained at his post. While many officials evacuated, he believed his place was near the center of power. In mid-April, he moved into the Führerbunker beneath the Reich Chancellery. Even as the city collapsed above him, Muller continued to work, reviewing intelligence reports and monitoring internal security. One of his last documented actions involved the interrogation of Hermann Fegelein, after it was discovered that Himmler had attempted secret negotiations with the Western Allies. Muller's presence in the bunker was noted by several survivors, including Hitler's secretary Traudl Junge and communications officer Rochus Misch. They recalled his calm, detached demeanor and strict routine. He continued to carry files, attend meetings, and brief figures such as Martin Bormann and Joseph Goebbels, focusing on security threats and loyalty concerns. The last confirmed sightings of Muller place him in the bunker on May 1, 1945, the day after Hitler's suicide. After that, accounts diverge. Some witnesses claimed he moved toward the Reich Chancellery Gardens. Others believed he entered a nearby shelter. No document conclusively places him outside the bunker after that date. Unlike many other senior Nazis, Muller neither surrendered publicly nor left behind identifiable remains. After the war, Allied intelligence agencies expected Muller to be captured. As head of the Gestapo, he possessed unparalleled knowledge of the regime's inner workings. Both American and Soviet agencies searched for him. Early reports conflicted. Some claimed he was dead, others insisted he had been taken prisoner. The Soviet NKVD denied holding him, while Western agencies remained skeptical. Throughout the late 1940s and early Cold War years, investigators followed leads across Europe and beyond. Former SS officers offered rumors, some claiming Muller defected to the Soviet Union. Others suggested he died in Berlin and was buried anonymously. West German authorities investigated graves and examined remains, but none could be conclusively identified as Muller. Sightings placed him everywhere from Czechoslovakia to South America, but none stood up to scrutiny. In 2001, the release of CIA files confirmed that American intelligence never located Muller. The documents suggested strong indications that he died in Berlin, but no proof. Equally, they acknowledged the possibility that Soviet intelligence may have captured him, though no evidence emerged. His fate remains unresolved. Muller's disappearance endures as one of the most haunting mysteries of the Second World War. Unlike many Nazi leaders whose deaths or captures are documented, he left no confirmed ending. A man who controlled secrets vanished into secrecy itself, leaving behind only questions, speculation, and an enduring reminder of how power, bureaucracy, and silence can outlive even the most brutal regimes.